right. Hello, everyone. Should we make a start? Awesome. So let's kick off with a quick introduction. Let me introduce myself. My name is James Dales. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and I work for a data consultancy firm based in the UK. And I spend more and more of my time building new and bespoke visualizations for our customers in Power BI. So I guess that's led to me doing this session today. So what we're going to cover today is how to build new bespoke visualizations in Power BI. What I'm not going to do is go into a real deep dive and explain every single little feature that you can do with custom visuals. What I'm going to do instead is go through the end-to-end process of building a new visual. And before I do that, is everybody familiar with what a custom visual in Power BI is? Yeah, you can see some hands. Who's using custom visuals already in Power BI? Awesome. It's after lunch. Let's wake everybody up. Thank you. I won't do that again. Don't worry. OK, so Power BI obviously comes with all of the visuals that you would expect: line charts, bar charts, I know error charts and maps, pie charts if you really must use them. But in my view, one of the really great features of Power BI is the ability for when Power BI doesn't already have the type of visual that you want to use, you can go ahead and build your own visual. Now, those visuals exist in something called the Power BI Visuals Marketplace. And just so we're all on the same page, already available in Power BI is the marketplace of more than 200 existing visuals. You access them here by navigating into the marketplace, and you can browse through all of the different visuals that either other teams in Microsoft who aren't necessarily part of the Power BI team, other third-party companies, or just members of the community who spent their time in building different visuals. And just to point one of them out, which is Icon Map. So one of the visuals that I've built originally for one of our customers, but I've added more and more features into it that's made it much more of a generic visual that's usable in many more scenarios, is now available in this custom visuals marketplace. So what do we need to do to build these new visuals? Well, these Power BI visuals are written in a language called Typescript. Now, Typescript is kind of a superset of an existing language called JavaScript. It's been created by Microsoft. It's open sourced, and it's been adopted in lots of different tools all over the internet. But the key is that it's built on top of JavaScript. JavaScript being one of those key languages that's used all over the web. It's the language that drives all of the interactions that we see when we're navigating around web pages. And the great thing about Power BI visuals being built in JavaScript is it allows us to take advantage of lots of existing open source frameworks and libraries. So we don't necessarily have to start from scratch each time when we want to build a visual. We can take advantage of libraries such as D3, which can, hello? Can we do anything with the mic? Is that any better? Not really. OK, yeah, it's still squeaking, isn't it? OK, I'll keep going, and hopefully we can see if we can do anything. I don't think I've got any controls, so we'll see if we can fix that. OK, I'll carry on. Yeah, hopefully it'll get better. Okay, all right. Sorry, hopefully we'll make do. Okay, so where was it? Yeah, so we can take advantage of libraries like D3, which provides us a whole existing set of tools and charts for building graphics, or Leaflet for building maps, but they're just two examples of many different libraries available. So what do we need to get started? Well, we need a couple of things. We need a code editor. I'm going to do my demos using Visual Studio Code. It's free, it's open source from Microsoft, and it gives us all the functionality we need. Obviously, you could use Notepad, but if you use a proper code editor, then you're going to get a much better experience. The second thing we need is to install a piece of software called Node.js. Now, Node.js is essentially it's a JavaScript server. It will run on our local laptop, on my laptop here, and it will allow us to run and debug our visuals locally on my machine while we're building them. So I've got some slides that take us through the process of getting all of this environment set up, but actually I'm not a huge fan of PowerPoint, so why don't we ditch PowerPoint and actually go through the process of setting up the environment from scratch on my machine, and I can take you all through it. So when we install Node.js, one of the packages that comes with Node.js is a tool called npm. Now, npm allows us to install libraries, JavaScript libraries that other people have published into the internet, and the Power BI visuals tools are no exception. So I'm going to kick off the process of installing the Power BI visuals tools. Now, I appreciate some of this setup can seem a little bit overwhelming. We're going to get the screen filled with quite a lot of stuff while these tools install, but I wanted to take you through the process of this, because actually once we've done it once, we don't need to do it again. And it shouldn't take too long, hopefully. So what it's doing is it's going down, it's not only installing the Power BI visuals tools, but it's also installing all of the different dependent libraries that those Power BI tools need. So now that's installed, and I should be able to run PBIViz. We're going to see PBIViz quite a bit. And if I scroll up, and if you squint a little bit, you can just about make out the Power BI logo. So these are the Power BI visuals tools, and if we run pbiviz-v, we can see that we've installed version 1.1.1, which was released just a few days ago. And I'll talk about some of the new capabilities that brings a little bit further on. So now we've installed the toolset, we just need to do one final thing to configure our environment, and that's to set up an SSL certificate. And that certificate allows the Power BI service, where we're going to host our report that we're going to use to build our visual in, allow that to communicate securely back down to our Node.js debugging environment on my laptop. So we can use the Power BI tools to create and install that certificate. So if I do pbiviz install cert, it sees that we don't already have a certificate, and it has created one for me. We need to cut and paste this passphrase that it's generated. And now if we run install cert again, it is going to prompt us to install that certificate. We paste in the password that it gave us a moment ago, and we have to install it into root certification authorities, hit next, and then just keep clicking yes to finish the process. And that's it. Now our environment's set up, and we're ready to build our first custom visual. So what sort of visual do you think we should build? Should we build a line chart? Should we build a bar chart? Or are they just a bit boring? So one of the key things with Power BI visuals, right, these custom visuals, is it allows us to build something completely different. They don't always have to have a huge amount of business value, right? Sometimes we can build things that are just for fun. So we are going to build rockets in Power BI. So my aim is, right, I'm going to take you through the process of building these visuals. As I said, I'm not going to take you through all of the in-depth details and all of the different capabilities that we can do with visuals. What I want to do is give you enough to get going and building your own, and hopefully a bit of inspiration of some of the different things that you can do. So let's kick off the process then of building our rocket visualization. So back in the Power BI tools, I'm going to say new, and let's call it rockets. And what the tools are going to do for me is create a new blank template visual with all of the different elements that we need to create our visual. So if I just list out, you'll see in here we've got a new folder in here called rockets. And if I navigate to that in Windows Explorer, you can see that we've got a whole load of files in here. So this is all of the base files that we need to build our visual. So let me open up these in Visual Studio Code. Now, is that big enough? Can everybody make that out? So I'm just going to point out a couple of key files in here. We'll spend quite a bit of time in Visual Studio Code over the next 40 minutes or so. The few key files that I'm going to point out are capabilities. This is where we specify what fields our visual is going to accept, which formatting settings it's going to use, and how that data is mapped and transformed as it comes into our visual. We then have a style sheet, which describes how the visual is formatted. And we have visual.ts. So this is our Typescript file. This is really where all the magic happens. So we have two key functions in here. One is a constructor. So this function gets called the very first time that we add our new visual onto our report, or when a report with our visual already added to it is loaded for the first time. And the second function is update, and this is called every single time a value is changed in our report. So let's have a look what this blank template visual looks like. So if I jump back to PowerShell and run in the PBI Viz Tools start, what that's going to do is kick off compiling our code and running it locally on my laptop. So now if I jump into the Power BI service, in here I've got a blank template report that we're going to use to test our visual in. But before I can test the visual, I need to turn on the developer visual inside the service. And if you've not done this before, you need to go into Settings up here on the toolbar, go into the Settings option here, and you'll see that there's a developer option with a tick box to enable custom visual debugging using the developer visual. So once you've done that, and we go back into our report, into edit mode, over here, you'll see that there's a new visual appeared called the developer visual. Now we have to do this in the Power BI service. We can't debug our visuals inside Power BI desktop. We have to run it in the service. So let me go ahead and add on that developer visual. Let's make it a bit bigger to fill in the rest of the page. And you can see this template visual just shows the word update count and the number 0 in yellow italics. So if I jump back to our Visual Studio Code, in our constructor, we can see here that we're adding a new HTML element onto our visual with the words update counting in it, with a number from a variable update count in italics, which we formatted in yellow. So that's where that code is coming from. So now we've got our developer visual up and running, we're ready to create our rocket visual. So let's just quickly jump back to PowerPoint and have a look actually what we need to do to make rockets fly in our visual. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to randomly place rocket ships across our visual. We're going to set each of those ships to a random size. We're going to rotate those images so they're all pointing in random directions. And then we're going to allocate each of those rocket ships a random speed. And then we're going to continually update the location of those rocket ships to make them move. And when the ships hit the edge of the visual, we're going to swap over that direction so that they appear to bounce around the visual. And then when the ship hits the edge of the visual, we're going to rotate it round so that it's always pointing in the direction of travel. And I can assure you it's going to be easier to build it in the Power BI visual than it was to get it working in PowerPoint. Okay, so let's jump into the code and make this happen. Now, I'm not quite brave enough to code all of this from scratch in front of you guys. So I do have a little bit of help with some code that I have already created, which I'm going to cut and paste in chunks, but I'm going to talk through what each of those bits of code does. So even if you're not that familiar with JavaScript, hopefully I can explain what all of that code's doing. So the first thing I'm going to do in our code is clear out all of the bits of our template visual that we don't need. So I'm not too worried about that update count variable or that bit of text. So let's just clear all of that out and take it right back to the bare bones. And now I'm ready to paste in the chunks of my code. So let me find that quickly. So the first thing I'm going to paste in, right at the top up here, is what's called an interface. This is basically a structure that will describe all of the things that we need to know about each of my space rockets. So we need to know the X and Y coordinate of where I'm going to place that space rocket on the visual. We need to know what speed it's going to travel, both vertically and horizontally. We need to know how big that space rocket's going to be, so how wide and how high the image is going to be. The angle, so how far I'm going to rotate that image around. And then a z-index. So this is where we've got more than one space rocket. I want the bigger space rockets to appear on top of the smaller space rockets. Then I've got some variables to paste in. So these just define some effectively default values. So the first thing is I've got a variable that holds the location of our space rocket image. So just so you can see what that image looks like, it's exactly the same image as I used in the PowerPoint presentation. It's a rocket. I've used a SVG image rather than a JPEG or a PNG, just so that it's vector-based, so you can scale it as big or as small as you like without it going pixelated. And then I'm specifying some default widths and heights. We're going to start off with 15 ships, and I've set a maximum speed, so these ships aren't going to move any more than 10 pixels at a time. And then I've specified an array. So an array is a construct that we're going to use to hold each of those individual specifications of our 15 ships. And then I've got a timer variable so that when we are later on updating the location of our ships, we can refer back to that timer if we need to. So next I've got three quite chunky functions that I'm going to talk through quite quickly. So let's paste them in. The first one is quite simple. It just generates a random number between the minimum value and the maximum value that we pass in. This is just so we're not repeating the same code lots of places where we need to create a random number. The next one, though, is a bit more important. This function initializes our ships. It's going to go through and configure each of our 15 spaceships. So first of all, I pull out the width and height that's available to me. So this is the width and height of our visual. Then I'm going to iterate through all of my 15 spaceships. And first of all, I'm going to calculate the speed, both horizontally and vertically. And there's a bit of extra code in here just to make sure that we don't end up with a 0 speed, because we don't want any of our space rockets to start off completely static. So I generate a minimum and maximum number using that maximum speed setting, which I think was 10. So we're going to generate numbers between -10 and 10. So we're going to create rockets that are going to fly both right to left and left to right. We then set the random size, and then we push all of that configuration into our array, and then we repeat round for all of the remaining 14 rockets. Once we've configured them all, we're going to draw our ships onto the visual. So again, we're going to iterate through the 15 rockets, and then first there's a check to see whether there's already a rocket ship. As this is the first time we're drawing them, there won't be. So we create a new HTML image on our page. We specify the URL of that space rocket, set its width and height. We choose a CSS setting absolute, so we're going to position our space rockets in specific places across the visual rather than in locations relative to the other rockets. We set that Z index. We give it a unique ID so we can refer to it later, and then we add it onto the visual. Then we specify the X and Y coordinates, so where it's going to appear on the visual, and rotate the visual round, the image round, so that it's pointing in a random direction. And that's it. So we've configured all of our 15 space rockets, and we've drawn them onto the visual. We just need to do one last thing, and that's to call our initialize ships function. So hopefully, oh yeah, I just need to pass in this .target. So we're passing in the base HTML element that we're going to draw all of the ships on top of. So if I save this, what should now happen in the background, if I jump back to PowerShell, is you can see our Power BI Visuals tools are now recompiling my visual. It says it's successful. That's a relief. That's a good sign. So now if I jump back into the Power BI service, onto my report, you'll see when I click on the visual, we get this toolbar appear. This toolbar just appears on the developer visual. And you'll see the first icon here is reload visual code. If I click on that, it's going to request the visual back from my local laptop with that latest version of code. So let's click that. And that's quite a relief for me. We now have space rockets plotted in randomly across the visual. And if I keep requesting that visual, you'll see that they're all placed in random locations each time. So the next step is to make our rockets fly. So let me pull in another couple of functions. Oops, paste those in. And again, it's very similar. We've got a function called moveShips. I'll talk through this one quite quickly. We're going to iterate through our 15 rockets again. We're going to work out the width and height of the visual again. We're going to store where the ship currently is, so we're going to pull out the current X and Y coordinate. And then we're going to update the current location by adding on that X and Y speed. So this is the plus or minus value. So we're going to either move our ship to the left or to the right or up or down, depending what that speed setting is. And then if that means having moved our ship, but it's now hit or gone past the edge of the visual, in this case the right-hand side, then we're going to flip that direction round so it's pointing the other way, If it hits the left-hand side, we'll swap it the other way, and the same applies for the top and bottom. Then we've just got a tiny little bit of maths using that previous x and y coordinates versus the current x and y coordinates to calculate the heading, so the direction of travel. So we rotate the spaceship round, update that in the ship's configuration, and then we run the function to draw all of those 15 spaceships all over again with the new location. Now that's obviously going to move the spaceships just once. It's going to move them all no more than 10 pixels in either direction. So we need a way of making that happen over and over and over again so that it appears that the spaceships are moving. So we've got a quick function in here that calls a JavaScript timer, which is going to run that move ships function every 50 milliseconds. So let's add that line of code to initialize that timer. This dot target. Now if I save that, it will trigger the recompilation of the visual again. So if I jump back into the service, hit refresh, and now we've got moving space rockets. This is much more fun than the bar chart, right? But at the moment, it's not a visual, is it? It's just a bit of a silly animation inside Power BI. There's nothing in here that makes it a data visual. I'm not changing the number of rockets, and the rockets are changing in my report. What I need to do next is enable the ability to take data out of my report and impact the visual. So, before I start coding again, let me just describe quickly how that process works. So when we build a Power BI report, we load all of our data into the Power BI model. Yeah? And then once the data's in the report, we might apply some filters, narrowing down how much data we're working with. We might apply some slices. We might cross-filter on another visual, all of the time reducing down the amount of data. That subset of data is then further refined by specifying which fields are relevant to our particular visual. Once we've specified those fields, we then need to determine how those fields are transformed into our visual. And we do that through something called the data view. And there are a number of different types of data view. I think these are probably the four most popular ones. There's single, which is literally just a single value, whether that's a piece of text or a number. There's categorical, which are numerical values which can be grouped up by one or more categories. There's just a flat table of data or a matrix. But in our case, all we need is a single value. We just want to know how many spaceships to plot on our visual. So we're going to use single. So let's jump back into my code. So I don't know whether you remember, but when I initially went through the files that had been generated, I very quickly showed capabilities.json. So this is the file where we tell the visual which fields we're going to allow people, or which placeholders, I guess, we're going to allow people to drop fields into. So if I jump back at the moment, if I click on the visual, you can see we've got category data and measure data. These are just the defaults that our template visual created for us. So you can see here category data and measure data. We're going to create our own. So we're going to have number of ships. So we first of all specify a friendly display name. So in here you can put spaces and capitalization and make it appear in a friendly way to the user. And we are going to give that a name that we're then going to refer to it in the code, so number of ships. So in this case, we haven't got any spaces in here. And this particular field is of type measure. So we're just going to pass in a number. And then down the bottom, we need to configure our data view. So let me clear all of the existing one out. And in our case, we are just going to specify a single data view, so a single value. So what we have to do is specify a role, and we are going to just pass in that number of ships field that we specified here at the top. So now if I save this and jump back into Power BI, refresh the visual, you can see here now on the right-hand side we've got number of ships. So now I can drag in my slicer value. So this is literally just a number between 0 and 100. This particular report doesn't even contain any data. I just have one slicer value in here, which will give me a number. So let's drag that onto the visual. And of course, what we want to happen is when I drag it to be a smaller number, the number of ships decreases. If I drag it to a bigger number, we get more ships. But whilst we've told Power BI which field we're going to use, we haven't actually written any code to change the number of ships yet. So if we think about what actually needs to happen when I drag this slicer to the left, we actually need to take some of our existing spaceships away. So I do have a very quick little function in there that we're going to paste in just to remove some of those existing spaceships. And I've got a bit of code to paste in here into the update function. So if you remember, this update function is called every single time we change a data value. So when I drag that slicer in either direction, it's going to call this line of code here. So what that allows me to do is then pull out of our data view that single value. So now, rather than using that defaulted 15 hard-coded number of ships, I can pull it out of our data view. So I can assign whatever value is coming out of my slicer directly into this variable, which I can then pass into my new function just in case we've made it smaller to remove those ships. And then we can override that existing global variable with the new value. And then we're going to redraw all of our ships again in case we need to add more ships. So if I save that and jump back into Power BI, refresh the visual, and now hopefully if I drag that to the right, we get more ships. And if I drag it to the left, it will take some of those ships away. Good. This is yeah, thank you. This is one of those demos where if I do something wrong at the beginning, that's it. I'm done for the rest. You might as well go home. So now we've got a data-bound visual. In my book, this is a proper visual. But there's still a few things hard-coded in here that make it a little bit specific. I'm pretty sure most businesses probably would want to use a different logo, a different space rocket image, right? Or maybe tweak it a bit more, I don't know. So what I want to show you next is how to change our formatting settings. Now, obviously, we haven't got the usual font sizes to change on here. So what we could change is maybe the maximum speed that our ships are going to travel, and also the image, the URL that we're using for the space rocket itself. So let's have a look at what we need to do that. So the first thing we need to do is jump back into our capabilities. And at the moment, we've got a huge set of configuration in here from that template visual for setting all sorts of colors and fill patterns and color saturation. This is actually quite useful because it gives you all of the different code that you need to set all of the different types of settings. But I'm going to start again from scratch. And I'm going to paste in instead, oops, starting there. A whole new section. So the first thing that we specify is a new section. So if you look back on how these settings are represented in Power BI, each of these individual formatting settings has a section, so a heading. So we've got data colors, title, background, etc., etc. So we're going to create a new section called ship settings. And then for our ship settings, we're going to specify the maximum speed, which is going to be a number. And we're going to specify the image URL, which is going to be a line of text. Now, configuring that information in here isn't enough for the visual to pick that up. What we need to do is go into another Typescript file where we basically relate that JSON configuration that we've just set up back to the code. So I'm going to remove out the existing code from the template and paste in instead our spaceship settings, where we're specifying the image URL and the max speed that we've just set up here in our capabilities. Worryingly, I've got an error in there. I'll come back and check that in a moment. But the key thing to note in here is this is where you set the default values for your settings. So, well, let's see if I've actually got an error. If I jump back into PowerShell, yep, we have indeed got a problem in here. So all that means is I am incapable of cutting and pasting. There we go. I think I fixed it. Let me see if I can kick that into recompiling it. Let's kick off debugger again. So basically, this shows a whole load of information, and most of the time it's green, and you only really need to worry if you see some red in there, like that. But I think we're okay. So now if I jump back into Power BI, refresh the visual, and now we have our settings in here called ship settings, and you can see those default values. Let me expand this out a little bit, if I can. Oops. Ship settings, so you can see that default URL and the maximum speed. So we are ready to now apply those visual settings in our code, because a little bit like when we configured the fields that we're going to use, we still actually need to write the code to pick up those settings. So back in here, we are going, let me just get this right. It's all gone so well so far, I don't want to get it wrong. In our update function, we just need to pick up those two settings and override our existing global variables. So this.maxSpeed equals, oops, let me get this right. Yeah, this.settings dot spaceship dot max speed, and this dot image URL equals this dot settings dot spaceship dot image URL, and that's it. That's all we need to do, because we've already specified these values in our global variables. We're just overriding them now from the original settings. I should probably just remove that line there, otherwise we're starting to configure those spaceships before we pull the values out of the settings. So let's refresh the visual and test these out. So I was trying to think what I could show here. I haven't got another rocket image, and I do apologize if this is a little bit creepy. But this is what happens when we build these custom visuals and we start giving the ability to change the settings. We make them more generic and we make them more usable in lots of different business scenarios. So now I've gone from rocket science to, I don't know, pest control. Two completely different industries, but one visual. And we can change the maximum speed. I don't know, flies probably aren't any faster than rockets, but they certainly seem to be. Let's speed that up a bit. There we go. That's pretty horrible, isn't it? Right. Let's close that down before everybody leaves. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. We've got a visual. We can pass our data into it, affect the visual. We can change the settings. I'm now ready to share our rocket ships, and I'm going to stick with rocket ships and not flies, to the rest of the organization. So I need to package my visual up, ready to create a file. So at the moment, we're just running it in our debugger. I want to create a visual file that and I can then share with everybody else, inflict my rockets on the rest of my company. So I need to do one quick thing in here first. So we haven't looked at pbiviz.json yet. This only really becomes important when you're ready to package up your visual. In here, we get, well, this is where we specify the name of the visual. We can give it a bit more of a friendly name with capitals if we want to. This next item, though, is a unique identifier that basically, well, it uniquely identifies our visual inside the Power BI service. And you can really get caught out here. When you use that pbiviz new command, it generates a new ID for you. If you decide to get lazy, as I did at a later date, and you want to use your existing visual, tweak it a bit and turn it into something new, and you just copy and paste all of your files, rename it, and don't go and change this ID, and then you upload your visual into the Power BI service, the Power BI service doesn't know that it's a different visual, and you risk breaking existing reports up in the service. So don't just cut and paste these without getting a new unique ID. I just thought I'd share my pain with you so you don't fall into the same trap, especially while you're learning to build new visuals, because it's quite tempting to cut and paste existing ones. We need to specify some other things in here, though. We need to give it a description, so let's call it rockets. We have to specify a new a support URL if people want to come and get help. But I'm not supporting rocket ships. You're on your own. However, what I will do is at least own up to it and put in my name and email address. There we go. And that's it. So that's the minimum set of information that you need to provide. There's other settings in here that you can provide. So if you're going to go further and publish your visual publicly, then you need to fill out some more information. But we'll come to that later. So having done that, back in PowerShell, let's stop our debugger. And we are going to run pbiviz package. Oh, actually, before I do that, there's one thing I want to change. Another thing we haven't looked at in here is in the assets folder, we have the icon that our visual is going to use in the service. Now, at the moment, it's just a screwdriver and spanner. That's pretty horrible. So let's get rid of that and put in something a bit more appropriate. So let's pull that in. So I've got a little space rocket icon to use instead. So if I run pbiviz package, what that's going to do is it's going to compile my visual. It's going to pull in any dependent libraries that I might be using. I'm not using any in our rocket ships. I've just written it in raw code without using any existing libraries. What it's going to create for us, if I navigate back to our rockets folder, in this dist folder is our pbiviz file. And once we've got a pbiviz file, that means we can now import our visual into Power BI Desktop. So let's go back to Power BI Desktop. And I'm ready to build my first important business rocket report. So let's get some data. We can't have a report without data. I'll just mock something up very quickly. So let's pretend we are modeling future space tourism. That's the only thing I could think of that was even slightly related to rocket ships. So number of ships, and we will say, where are we now? 2019, so in 2020, maybe we are going to have 5 tourists to the International Space Station. By 2025, maybe that's gone up to 7. By 2030, let's say 10. But by 2035, we're going to have all of these different companies sending lots of different tourists into space. Let's do that. Call it, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, tourism. There we are, very quick data set. Let's give our report a little bit of a theme. Let me pull in a background image. Oh, hello, I didn't mean to do that. In here. Background image. Transparency 0. Let's do that. So we've now got a pretty background picture for our report. We can now model our number of spaceships over time. So what do we want? Year on the axis. Let's make that very slightly, mouse is stopping, very slightly prettier. We'll turn off the y-axis. Let's make it white. And turn off the title. That will do for now. And now we're ready to bring in our custom visual. So if I click on the 3 dots on here, and in this case, I need to import from file. So let me choose import from file, import. And if I navigate to our viz folder, rockets, this folder where we've just created this PBI viz file, choose that. And hopefully, we now get a new visual with our pretty rocket icon. So let's click that, drag it onto the report. Let's fill the whole report and bring in our number of ships. And if we send that to the back, let's turn off the title as well. Now, when I just click out of that. Now, when I click on the different bars on my bar chart, we've got a proper data-bound custom visual in Power BI Desktop. Thank you. So now I'm really happy. Now I really want to properly share it with everybody else in my company. I want everybody to be able to use rockets on their own reports. Now I could email around that PBI viz file, but actually Power BI provides a much better mechanism for sharing those visuals that you don't necessarily want to release publicly. Rocket ships aren't for everybody maybe, but I know everybody in my company is going to want to use it. So if I go back into the Power BI service and go into the admin portal, I'm not going to lose those flies. You'll see here in the admin portal, there is a section called Organization Visuals. And we've already got icon map in there, so some of my team can use the pre-release of that. But we're going to add in a new visual, which is obviously our rocket ship visual. So I select that PBI viz file again. We're going to call it rockets. Oops. We get the opportunity to give it a much prettier, higher resolution image. So I've got a bigger version of a rocket picture to put in there, and we can give it a description. And I can hit add, and it will add it to the organization visuals. Now what this means is back in Power BI Desktop, rather than having to go in here and import from file, I can instead go import from marketplace. And rather than scrolling through all of the public visuals, I can go to the My Organization tab. Hopefully, maybe we need a refresh. Let's try it one more time. Maybe not. You see, I knew if I risked using the latest build of Power BI Desktop from this morning, I might find a snag. What we should see in there, however, is our latest rocket visual. Let's do it in the service. Let me go back to our report here. Edit the report, import from marketplace, My Organization, and there it is, rocket ships, ready to add into the report. So that's a much better way of having an internal library of visuals that effectively you've approved as an organization for everybody to use. Okay, I think that's probably everything I was going to share with you. There are further custom visual sessions tomorrow morning at 9:30, I think, back in this room. So if you want a much broader view of custom visuals, rather than going through the process of building one, then come back in for Raining's session in here tomorrow. Thank you very much.